Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something real today. If you want a man to chase you, not just for a moment, but for a lifetime, you got to understand one truth. It's not about your looks, it's not about what you wear, and it sure ain't about how much you do for him. It's about how you carry yourself. It's how you make a man feel when he's around you, and even more so when he's not. Ladies and gentlemen, let me drop something on you today that can change the way you look at love, relationships, and most importantly, yourself. If you ever want a man to not just chase you, but stay loyal to you, stay drawn to you, and stay proud to have you, then listen carefully. Everything, and I mean everything, starts with one thing: self-respect. Not how pretty you look, not how much attention you give him, not what you do to prove yourself. It's the way you treat yourself that teaches him how to treat you. Self-respect is the root of everything. You don't demand respect, you command it by how you carry yourself. When a woman has self-respect, she walks differently, she speaks differently. She doesn't settle. She doesn't compromise her values just to keep someone around. She's not afraid to be alone because she knows her worth doesn't come from a man, it comes from within. You see, when a man meets a woman like that, it's a whole different ball game. She doesn't need him, she chooses him. And that alone changes how he shows up. Because men chase value, and nothing is more valuable than a woman who knows her own. The problem is, too many people confuse being nice with being respectful. Being nice is one thing, but if you're constantly bending over backward for someone who's giving you the bare minimum, that's not nice. That's neglecting yourself. When you start putting your feelings aside just to avoid conflict or to keep the peace, you're not showing love, you're showing a lack of boundaries. And believe me, the moment you lower your standards for someone, they learn they don't have to rise to meet you. But when a man sees that you won't accept less than what you deserve, that you've got standards, that you love yourself too much to settle, he's either going to level up or he's going to leave. Either way, you win. There's power in knowing what you will and won't tolerate. A woman who respects herself won't allow inconsistent energy. She won't fall for words without actions. She won't keep accepting "I'm sorry" without changed behavior, because she values her time, her peace, and her heart. And that kind of woman isn't common. That kind of woman stands out. She doesn't have to do too much. She just is. She's calm, centered, and rooted in her own identity. That's magnetic. That's what keeps a man on his toes. Now hear me when I say this. Self-respect isn't about being hard or cold. It's not about building walls so no one can get close. It's about having enough love for yourself that you won't allow anyone to disrupt your peace. It's about showing the world, and any man in it, that you know who you are and what you bring to the table. And once you have that, you won't need to chase. You won't need to beg. You won't have to constantly prove your worth, because your presence will speak for itself. You want him to chase you forever? Start by loving yourself in a way that no one can ignore. Prioritize your mental health. Protect your energy. Choose your words with intention. Walk away from people who confuse you. Be honest with your feelings. Be kind, but don't let anyone take your kindness for weakness. Show him that you're not afraid to walk alone. Show him that being with you is a privilege, not an obligation. When a man sees that you respect yourself deeply, it creates a kind of pressure, the good kind, the kind that makes him want to rise to the occasion. He starts to realize that to be with you, he's got to bring more than just charm or sweet talk. He's got to bring consistency, effort, and commitment, because you won't tolerate anything less. And that's when the chase begins, not because you played games, not because you manipulated anything, but because your self-respect lit something inside him, and that flame, if he's the right one, will never burn out. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get real for a minute. There's something powerful about a woman who knows what she brings to the table. A woman who knows her value doesn't chase love, she attracts it. She doesn't cry over someone who walked away. She understands that rejection is simply redirection. A woman like that, she doesn't beg for affection, attention, or validation, because she knows something most people forget. When you know your worth, you stop trying to convince anybody else of it. Too many women are out here chasing men who don't even know what they want. They're giving their time, their energy, their hearts to someone who barely deserves their presence. They keep trying to prove they're the one, doing everything they can just to be seen, to be chosen. But the truth is, if you have to beg for someone to see you, you're not standing in your power. You're handing it away. The real glow up, the real transformation comes when you stop fighting for love and start allowing it to come to you. Not from a place of lack, but from a place of strength. A woman who knows her worth doesn't settle for crumbs. She's not impressed by empty words or temporary affection. She's not swayed by half-hearted effort or inconsistent love. No. She sets the tone. She teaches a man how to love her by the way she loves herself. And when a man sees that, when he sees that confidence, that grace, that unshakable self-respect, it changes how he moves. Because she's not just another option, she's the standard. You see, it's not about being arrogant. It's not about acting like you're better than everyone else. It's about being so secure in who you are that you don't need love to complete you. You only welcome it when it adds value. You stop asking, why didn't he choose me? And start understanding that maybe he simply wasn't ready for a woman of your caliber. And that's okay. That doesn't lower your worth, it proves it. Because love isn't something you're supposed to earn by losing yourself. Love is supposed to recognize your light and rise to meet it. When a woman knows her worth, she doesn't chase, she aligns. She aligns with peace, with joy, with purpose. She's busy building a life she loves, and any man who steps into it has to be bringing something real. She's not looking to be rescued, fixed, or completed. She's not desperate for attention. She gives herself the love she used to beg for. And that kind of energy, that energy makes a man think twice. That energy makes him look at her like she's one of a kind, because she is. A man will chase a woman who makes him feel like he has something to prove. But not because she plays hard to get, not because she's playing games, but because she doesn't need him to feel whole. She knows she can walk away at any moment if her needs aren't met. And that keeps him in pursuit. It keeps him respectful. It keeps him invested. Because no man wants to lose a woman who doesn't need him but chooses him anyway. There's a quiet strength in a woman who isn't afraid to say no, who isn't afraid to walk away, who isn't afraid to be single rather than be mistreated. That's where true power lies. And when you stand in that, when you honor that within yourself, the right man won't run. He'll recognize your value. He'll honor your presence. He'll know he's in the company of someone rare, someone precious. So if you want to inspire real love, stop begging for it. Start becoming the kind of woman who loves herself so fiercely that it forces every man around her to either rise or fall back. And the one who's meant for you, he'll rise every time. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something that might just change the way you see relationships forever. There's nothing more attractive, nothing more powerful, nothing more magnetic than a woman who's independent. Not just financially, but emotionally, mentally, spiritually. A woman who walks in the room and doesn't need anyone to validate her, doesn't need a relationship to feel fulfilled, doesn't need a man to complete her, but chooses love from a place of wholeness. That woman is unforgettable. That woman is rare. That woman is irresistible. You see, a lot of people confuse independence with distance. They think being independent means you don't want love or you're not open to it. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that the most powerful kind of love comes when two whole people choose each other, not out of desperation, not out of loneliness, but out of real respect and admiration. When you're independent, you're not looking for someone to fix your life. You're not hoping a relationship will heal your wounds. You've already done the work. You've already found your identity. And when a man sees that, when he sees that you've built your life and you're not waiting around for someone to save you, that's when he realizes he's dealing with someone different. And those are the days that men should be building relationships. Independence makes a man want to step up. It challenges him in a good way because you're not looking for attention. You're focused on your growth, your goals, your dreams. And instead of begging for time or chasing affection, you're out there creating opportunities, living your purpose, moving like you already know who you are. That's what makes a man chase you. Because deep down, men don't want someone they have to carry. They want someone they can run with. A teammate, a partner, a queen who knows how to hold her own. Now, don't get me wrong. A strong woman still wants to be loved. She still wants connection. She still wants intimacy. But she doesn't sacrifice herself to get it. She doesn't shrink just to make someone else feel bigger. She doesn't lose her voice in order to keep the peace. She knows what she brings to the table, and because of that, she's not afraid to eat alone until the right one pulls up a chair. That's the type of woman that leaves an impression. That's the kind of energy that lingers in a man's mind long after she's walked away. There's a difference between being available and being too accessible. A woman who is independent isn't constantly checking her phone for a reply. She's not rearranging her schedule for someone who hasn't made his intentions clear. She's not crying over mixed signals. She's too busy building something. And when she makes time for you, You know it's real. You know it's intentional. You know it's because she sees potential, not because she's afraid of being alone. That's what changes the game. That's what makes a man stop and think, this one's different. Because he sees you're not operating from need, you're operating from choice. And when you choose him, he knows you're doing it from a place of power, not from fear, not from insecurity, not because your world will fall apart without him, but because you genuinely want to share your world with him. That makes him value you. That makes him respect you. That makes him chase you. So never apologize for your independence. Never tone it down to make someone else comfortable. Never hide your shine to fit into someone else's idea of love. Be bold in your self-love. Be strong in your standards. And watch how the right man doesn't run from that, he runs to it. Because independence, when rooted in grace and confidence, isn't a wall, it's a magnet. And the one who's meant for you will be drawn to it every single time. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something that most people don't understand about love, especially when it comes to women trying to make a man stay or commit. See, you don't make a man respect you by giving him everything. You don't teach a man to value you by always being available, always saying yes, always letting things slide. You teach a man how to treat you by the boundaries you set. That's what separates a woman who's admired from a woman who's taken for granted. Boundaries are not walls. They're guidelines. They say, this is what I accept, and this is what I won't tolerate. And trust me, a man who's serious about you will respect those lines. A man who isn't ready will either step up or step out. And either way, that's a win. The reason so many women end up confused and heartbroken is because they confuse patience with tolerance. You keep hoping he'll change, that he'll see your worth if you just love him harder. But love without boundaries becomes chaos. It turns into a one-sided game where you give and he takes and takes. But when you say, this is what I need to feel safe, loved, respected, and you mean it, that's when he knows he's not dealing with someone ordinary. That's when he starts to pay attention, because boundaries create structure. They create clarity, and men need clarity. Without it, they guess, and most of the time, they guess wrong. A woman with boundaries doesn't have to yell, she doesn't have to beg. She lets her actions do the talking. If he's inconsistent, she pulls back. If he's disrespectful, she calls it out. If he's unavailable, she stops showing up for someone who won't show up for her. And you know what that does to a man who truly wants you? It wakes him up. It makes him realize he can't play around. He can't come and go when he wants, because you're not afraid to walk away if your peace is at stake. And nothing is more powerful than a woman who's not afraid to lose a man that isn't treating her right. Some women think setting boundaries will push a man away. Let me tell you, if boundaries push him away, he was never yours to begin with. A man who's ready for real love will not be scared of your standards. In fact, he'll rise to meet them, because boundaries don't scare grown men. They scare boys who still want to play games. And the last thing you want is to waste your time on a man who's still figuring out how to be one. You don't set boundaries to control anyone else. You set them to protect your own heart. You do it so you don't lose yourself in the process of trying to be everything to someone else. And the truth is, boundaries make your love stronger because now he knows where you stand. Now he knows what matters to you. Now he knows you value yourself enough to speak up. That's what earns respect. That's what earns loyalty. A man will test your boundaries not because he's evil, but because he wants to know, how far can I go? What will she accept? What will she let slide? And your job is to teach him, not through arguments, but through consistency. When you say no, mean it. When you say you won't accept something, don't accept it. When you draw the line, don't move it just because you miss him. Because the second you do, you teach him that your words are flexible, that your needs are optional. And once he sees that, the respect starts fading. Boundaries aren't about punishment. They're about teaching someone how to love you the right way. And the man who's serious about you, he'll learn, he'll adjust, he'll grow. Because a woman with boundaries isn't difficult, she's clear. And clarity is what keeps a man chasing, committed, and completely in awe of the woman who knows her worth. Ladies and gentlemen, let me give you one of the realest truths about relationships that most people overlook. If you want to keep a man's interests, if you want him chasing you, wondering about you, thinking about you day and night, then you've got to understand the power of mystery. See, a lot of women think the best way to get a man is to lay it all out from the beginning. You give him all your time, your stories, your heart, your routine, your emotions, all in the first few weeks. But let me tell you something. When you give everything away too fast, there's nothing left for him to discover. And when there's nothing to discover, there's nothing left to chase. Men are natural pursuers. It's how we're wired. But what keeps us locked in is not knowing everything about you in one sitting. What keeps us up at night is wondering what's on your mind, why you didn't text first, how you're so confident without needing constant attention. It's not about playing games. It's about protecting your depth, your spirit, your soul. Until a man proves he deserves access to those things, when you're mysterious, you create curiosity, and curiosity pulls a man in deeper than any outfit or compliment ever could. You don't have to be loud to be seen. You don't have to tell every detail of your life to be understood. Sometimes the silence says more than the words. Sometimes the way you hold back a little makes him lean in more. You show him just enough to get his attention, but not so much that he thinks he's already figured you out. And let me tell you, a man who thinks he knows everything about you too quickly, he stops trying. He gets comfortable. But when there's mystery, when you leave a little bit unknown, he stays engaged. He stays interested. He wants to earn the next layer of you. This doesn't mean you lie. This doesn't mean you fake who you are. It means you honor your inner world and don't give it away like it's on discount. You're not a clearance sale. You're a rare gem. So stop handing your whole story to someone who hasn't even shown you consistency. Keep parts of yourself sacred. Keep parts of your heart guarded, not because you're trying to push love away, but because you know love is something that should be earned over time A man values what he works for. When he has to put in effort, time, and patience to understand you, he cherishes the connection more. He starts to see you not just as another woman, but as someone unique, someone he can't easily replace. Someone who challenges him, excites him, and brings him peace, all without giving everything away. And once he starts to feel that pull, once he realizes you're not like the rest, that's when the chase becomes real. Mystery keeps things alive. It keeps the spark from fading because he knows there's still more of you to discover. He realizes that you're layered, that you're not a quick read, that being with you means constantly learning something new. And that journey, that's what keeps a man invested long term. That's what makes him wake up and say, I don't want to lose her, not because you're trying to impress him, but because you're making him earn what others took for granted. So hold your mystery close. Let him wonder a little. Let him question how you stay so calm, so graceful, so in control of your own life. Because when a man realizes he can't have all of you right away, that's when he starts to show up differently. He respects you more. He values the moments he gets with you. And most of all, he understands that being with a woman like you is a privilege, not a given. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something plain and simple. Confidence is the secret sauce. It's the one thing that separates a woman who's unforgettable from a woman who's just another face in the crowd. When a woman walks into a room and she knows who she is, without saying a word, everybody feels it. And a man, oh, he notices it instantly. Confidence without arrogance is powerful. It doesn't scream, it doesn't beg for attention, it owns the moment. And when a man sees that kind of energy, he can't help but chase it because it's rare, and anything rare becomes valuable. Now, don't get it twisted. There's a difference between confidence and arrogance. Arrogance is loud, it's showy, it's usually covering up insecurity. But confidence, real confidence, it's quiet, it's calm. It's the way you carry yourself when you're not trying to be seen, but still can't be ignored. It's knowing your worth and never needing to explain it to anyone. It's being kind, but never letting anyone mistake that kindness for weakness. That's the kind of presence that makes a man say, I need her in my life. When you're confident, you stop asking for permission. You stop shrinking yourself for anyone else's comfort. You speak your truth with grace, and you know when to walk away without looking back. A confident woman doesn't wait around for someone to choose her. She chooses herself every single day. And that right there, that's what makes a man look at you differently, because you're not sitting around waiting for love to validate you. You are the validation. Confidence also teaches a man how to treat you. When you know your worth, when you're clear about what you want and what you won't tolerate, he has to rise to your level. You're not chasing him. You're not begging for time. You're not competing for attention. You're standing in your power, and that alone is magnetic. Because let me tell you, men love a challenge, not in a toxic way, but in a way that makes them feel they have to earn you, not just have you. When a man sees you're not impressed by empty gestures or sweet talk, he steps his game up. He starts thinking long term, because losing you would mean losing someone who truly knows herself. You don't need to have everything figured out to be confident. It's not about perfection. It's about showing up as you are and owning your space. A woman who believes in herself makes decisions without fear. She trusts her instincts. She embraces her flaws, and she doesn't change who she is just to be accepted. That's what makes her unforgettable. She's not trying to be someone else. She's already enough as she is. Confidence gives you freedom. You're not bound by other people's opinions. You're not stressed when someone doesn't text back. You're not heartbroken over someone who didn't see your value because you never needed their validation to begin with. And that's exactly what makes a man realize he can't play around. He either shows up right or he gets left behind. And the ones who matter, they show up. They put in the effort. They make you feel secure because they know what they've got in you. When you love yourself deeply, when you show up for yourself every day, you naturally attract better. Not just in love, but in life. That energy is powerful. That energy is rare. And a man who's serious, a man who's grown, a man who's ready, he sees that and knows he's found something he doesn't want to lose. So don't dim your light. Don't second guess your voice. Don't lower your standards to fit someone who isn't ready. Stand tall in who you are. Speak with love, move with strength, and keep your confidence rooted in self-respect. Because that's what keeps a man chasing, not for a moment, but for a lifetime.